Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for choosing to spend a lovely evening with us. My name is Miriam Morales Mickelson. I am the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning here in the district, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you tonight to our Zoom and Canvas orientation webinar, which is part of the family education series that we as a district are offering to all our families to help you better support your students so that they can be successful in the new school year. Our main presenter for tonight is Scott Bracken, who is one of our TOSAs, teacher on a special assignment. He is our curriculum and instruction specialist and highly knowledgeable when it comes to education technology. So for tonight, we are going to give you an overview on Zoom and Canvas. Our presentation is likely going to be about 30 to 40 minutes. We will be sure to leave time at the end to answer whatever questions you might have. I invite you to write down or type your questions on the Q&A box just so you don't forget the question, you don't lose it. I also want to say that today's presentation is going to be recorded for your future reference. We will post the recording tomorrow on our family education YouTube channel, so you can go back and rewatch the video as a reference. And also, if you know somebody who is unable to join us tonight but would like to know about the presentation, they can also check out the video. So having said that, I will turn things over to Scott Bracken.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for showing up today. I really do appreciate it. My goal today is to really show you how you can find information on Canvas specifically tonight. We'll talk a little bit about Zoom, but also just where you can find information about the opening this year. So to start out with, let's just talk a little bit about the agenda. The first thing I'm going to talk about is some important links for both students and families. We're going to talk about login and how students access their learning online. We'll cover some Zoom topics. And then I'm going to go through a Canvas overview specifically about how to sign up as a parent observer. And then also take a look at a student account and just kind of go through the user interface and how students can do certain things within Canvas. So some important links for students and families. The school website, www.snow.wednet.edu, should be a place where you start looking for information about how to get online, and also just about information, how-to guides, and then also gaining access to the students' Canvas pages and Zoom. Within that, within the reopening link down here at the bottom, there's also an SSD family education page where you can find a YouTube channel. So I believe the video that's being recorded tonight will be on there. But if we go over here to the district's website, inside of the reopening category here, you'll find Canvas resources and tools. If your student is also some Zoom resources and tools. So there's a lot of, and then there's the family education link here that I talked about that also has Zoom and Canvas resources. So this is a link to those resources I just showed you, but also to the YouTube channel, okay? One thing that I did want to talk about within this, specifically about Canvas, is if we go into Canvas here, There are resources in here for you, like if you need to, if you want to go through how you sign up for an observer link, and I'll talk about that in just a second, there are directions on how you do that. There's also a link to either logging in or signing up for Canvas, and this will also be referenced later on in the presentation. But there's also this passport to Canvas, and this particular website is actually a course that students can take, and also parents, that takes them through how to do various different things within Canvas. From navigating Canvas to how you send messages to your teachers, how to navigate a course, and so on. So this is an open course that's built into Canvas that is a good reference for you to take a look at later on. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how your students log in. I always recommend that students start accessing online resources within Sonoma School District by going to the main district webpage and clicking on Hello ID. When they click on Hello ID, they'll be asked to enter in their login information. All of the students' usernames are their first dot last name and then @studentssd.org. This will be their username to log into online, to the online resources. Their passwords will vary. Elementary student passwords are student IDs, essentially their student IDs, which can be found in Skyward. Many of them know them by heart. I know that my son and daughter did, but with minus the zero at the end, or at the beginning, excuse me. Secondary school passwords are set by the students themselves. So they would need to know that password, and if they don't know that password, they can always dial the district technology department, and they can receive an email to update that password. So when students log into Hello ID, now this is my Hello ID, which has a lot of different applications in it. But you can see here, this is essentially what we call a single sign-on portal. And what this allows you to do is it manages your passwords for you. So if they log into Hello ID, they can click on Canvas and it's going to automatically log them into the Canvas, to their Canvas account. Additionally, with Zoom, this is how they can access their Zoom account through the district. And I always suggest that students use their district Zoom account to participate in classroom activities. Okay, so many of your students have will receive or have received district provided laptops, and this is pertaining to Zoom. If they have a district provided device, then Zoom will be updated automatically through that device. So there's no need to be doing any updating. The technology department will push out updates periodically. If you have Zoom loaded on a personal device, then you can, hold on here, then there's 3 separate ways that you can update that device. And I'm going to show you a quick video on how you do that.
Option 1. If Zoom has released a mandatory update, you will receive a pop-up or a bar on your client prompting you to update. From here, review the terms and conditions and update your client. Option 2 for optional updates. Select your profile image and click Check for Updates. Then you will be prompted to update your client. Option 3. Head to the zoom.us/downloads page. Here you will find all of our latest releases and you can download the client straight from the web. To check and see if your client is running Zoom's latest release, click your profile image and scroll to check for updates. If you are up to date, there will be no install options. So be sure to check for the latest Zoom update on your client today.
Okay, so that's how you can update your Zoom client if you're using home computers for your students' learning. I would always recommend that you stay up to date on the latest version, just because of they may be updating security things or some things that they needed to patch up to make it function correctly. Additionally, I would always have them go into Hello ID, like I showed you earlier here, by clicking on Hello ID and logging in using their username and password as I described earlier. And then I would always have them open up Zoom here so that they're logged into their Zoom client online. That way, when they click on a meeting, it's going to ask them to open up Zoom, and that particular username and password will be used to log into Zoom. If you're using a home computer and a student has never used Zoom before on that, when you click on a Zoom link, which teachers might be posting in Canvas or Seesaw, if you click on that Zoom link, Zoom will actually prompt you to download the client, and it will take you through the process to install it. And once it's installed, you then can join the meeting. Okay.
So Zoom is, needless to say, the video conferencing tool that our schools and our teachers are going to be using in this new school year, in this remote setting that we are about to enter into. If you are not very familiar or adept with Zoom, I recommend that you visit our district's website. As Scott had shown you earlier, under family education, there are a variety of resources and video tutorials on Zoom. If you go to the side tab that talks about Zoom resources and tools. So I encourage you to go there. The video tutorials that we posted are brief. They're pretty easy to follow. So I will not go over the technical aspects of Zoom tonight, and instead, like I said, encourage you to go there. What I want to spend a little bit of time on is just sharing with you some of the expectations that we have of our students in this remote setting as they are doing synchronous learning, meaning real-time learning with their teachers and their classmates. So this is, they will be participating in a virtual classroom. So there is an expectation, naturally, that our students are appropriately dressed. Our students may feel tempted or may be tempted to not dress appropriately for the classroom. So we strongly discourage that, especially when you're learning from home. Chat is going to be a feature of Zoom that will be utilized quite heavily as part of the live instruction. And so there is an expectation that chats are respectful and that our students post comments or questions on chat that will move the conversation or the learning forward. The teacher may at times choose to disable the chat function just to ensure that students are focused on the lesson at hand. And it's also important for students to just pay attention to the background, avoid background that can be distracting, and just be reminded that they are participating in a virtual classroom. When the teacher ends the class, students cannot stay behind without the teacher being present and supervising. So when class is ended, everybody will have to leave. And what can you do as parents and families to support your students and help them have a productive learning experience during Zoom? or during live instruction. If possible, find a space in the house that's calming, quiet, distraction-free, a space that you can dedicate for your student to work every day. And we prefer that students do not Zoom from their bedroom. And the reason for that really is to just help our students get in this mindset of, I am at school, I am learning, I am doing work, create that sense of normalcy and create that sense of separation from home life and school. If possible, have materials ready and close by. Help your students remain organized so they don't waste quite a bit of time rummaging through the house looking for materials that they need in order to participate meaningfully. It's also important to just be mindful of the activities within the household that might be heard or might be seen during video conferencing. 2 days ago, my son, who's in college, was in class via Zoom, and I just had not paid close attention to what he was doing. I went to an area that was close to where he was and started making noise. He was not very happy about that, texted me and said, please stop making noise or leave. So just keep that in mind. No running of the vacuum or anything that might be really noisy. And if possible, find a space that is close enough to you so that you can monitor if you're around, if you're in the house, so that you can monitor the student, but also private enough so that the student can focus on the work. And again, just help your student dress appropriately, be present for the class, and avoid any distractions. Now, I say all of this understanding that it's not always easy or it's not always possible to find a space in the house that's calming and quiet and distraction free. So this is certainly, there are certainly challenges and limitations inherent to online learning. So please do not stress, do your very best as a parent, as a guardian, help your student be able to focus, but we also understand that our house, they're not necessarily equipped to do for our students to do learning and work. So do your very best.
So the next part we're going to talk about is a learning management system. And the learning management system that we use in Sonoma School District is Canvas. And exactly, lots of people, you hear the acronym LMS, and exactly what is a learning management system? It's a web-based platform that is used by instructors or teachers and students to access their learning essentially. And it has built-in capabilities for teachers to be able to give feedback to students about their learning, and then also giving students the ability to interact with each other and also learn from each other. It's essentially a virtual classroom. That's how you have to look at a Canvas course or a learning management course. So the first thing that I want to talk about as far as Canvas goes, is I want to talk about, there's a feature built into Canvas called a parent observer account. And what I want to do is I want to take you through just through the slides of how you sign up for and activate a parent observer account. And what this account allows you to do is it allows you to see assignments, it allows you to see the content, it allows you to see your students' grades. It doesn't allow you to see discussions that are happening within Canvas. So it's a limited account, it's limited to your student. So the first thing that you need to create a parent observer account is you need to get a pairing code. And that pairing code is found inside of your student's account. So I logged into, since I'm an admin, I'm able to log in as my son. And I was able to go into his account and show you that by going into the account icon and then in settings, you can click on this pair with observer. And when you do that, a code is going to come up. It's a randomized code that you would just go ahead and highlight, copy, and wait to paste it as we move, as I show you here later. So how do I create it? How would you create an account? Well, the first thing that you would do is go to our district's website. And then I showed you earlier the reopening link that's in the green section of that main page. And then there's a Canvas resource and tools when you click on the reopening link. When you click on that, the very first link at the top is a Canvas link. And when you click on that, you're going to see this image here. So you're going to choose the parent version here. And when you do that, it's going to take you to essentially a sign in or sign up page. And at the very top here, you see there's a parent of Canvas user. When you click on that, up will come up this parent sign up. And this is where you fill out your full name, you choose your email, and if you are a district employee, you would want to choose something other than your district employee email. Choose a personal email. You would create a password, and then you're going to put in that pairing code right here and click agree and start participating. Once you've done that, you would need to then go back. It's going to take you back, or you're going to have to go back to this login page. And that's when you put in your newly created email and password and log in. When you do that, you're going to log into your account, and you can see this is essentially the classes that my son Meyer has. And you're going to be able to click on any of these courses and go in and take a look at those courses. If you have more than one student, then you can go to your account and click on observing, and you can add multiple pairing codes. So I have a daughter, I could add my daughter's pairing code here, and now I would have both my kids that I am observing. So I'm just going to kind of take you through the steps here. If I click on the reopening and click in Canvas Resource and Tools and click on this first link, you'll see here that it gives me these three choices. I'm going to click on Parent. And then this is where I can log in. You're going to all see my Gmail account. And now you can see that I am in my parent observer. So I can view my son's grades. And then if I wanted to go in here and add another pairing code, I would just go to Account, Observing, and then I would grab my daughter's account or pairing code. She would need to log in and give me that code. And then I could add her as a student as well. So that's how you create a parent observer. More than one parent can sign up for this. You would just use the pairing code. You just use your two emails that parent or guardian. If you have more than one guardian, more than one guardian can have an account. With this parent observer account, if a teacher sends out a message through Canvas, they can actually select, and you'll see this in just a little bit, they can actually select, they can select that not only that students in the class receive the message, but also observers. So if they have a message that they want to send out to parents through Canvas, they can actually, through the messaging system over here, the inbox system, they can send out, and you'll receive a message in your email that says, there's a message here and here's the message. Or you can log in, it'll alert you to log into your account and take a look at that message. Okay. So that's a parent observer account. So the next thing I want to show you here, let me just make sure because I've been logging in and out. Yep, okay. The next thing I want to show you is just take you through the user interface of Canvas. We're going to be covering kind of the default landing page and what's on that default landing page. Account settings, and when I talk about account settings, this also is a reference to you as a parent observer. You can do the same things that I'm going to go through here. Conversations, how to send a message. The dashboard, how to add and remove courses, how to move tiles around, and how to change colors or color overlays. Going into the calendar section and selecting or unselecting courses. And then I want to show you the help section for students. So what I've done here is I'm acting as my son here. I enrolled him in a course here, and this is a notification. If your son or daughter have been enrolled in a course, they might need to accept that course. So if I click accept, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm going to go back here. Hold on here. It's one thing that I didn't envision happening. Tested it earlier. Okay, I'm just going to have to. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, back to. So they might need to accept that particular course. So let's talk about the user interface a little bit. There are three main components to the user interface. There's the global navigation, which is the green strip down the left side. There's the dashboard, which is right here in the middle and has all your courses, your current courses in it. And then there's the to-do list and feedback section here on the right-hand side. So in the global navigation, students have account, dashboard, courses, calendar, inbox, or they call them conversations in Canvas, and then a help section. So in the account area here, there are two things I want to cover with you. First of all, there are settings. And what this is how you can update, so you can actually edit these settings. You can edit the image. You can add other contact methods like a phone. So this is how you update your contact information. The next area that I want to cover with you are the notifications. And particularly, I want you to pay attention to this guide up here. Notify me right away, send a daily summary, send a weekly summary, do not send me anything. As an observer, I would make sure that I set these appropriately, because if you don't, you might be receiving quite a few emails whenever anything is changed within the course. And I'm not gonna go through all these, but it takes you through a lot of different settings, and you have to realize that if there's a course content, if something's changed, you probably don't want to receive any kind of notification if teachers are updating their course. So I've turned that off. But this is how you control what kind of messages you receive from Canvas. So the next thing that I want to cover here is the dashboard. And the dashboard is essentially all of these are called tiles. And as of right now, your students probably don't have very many tiles here because the courses that they have for this year actually don't get published until next week. So this, when when those courses are published, this will be filled with the courses that, that your student is enrolled in. Let's talk a little bit about these tiles. You can adjust these tiles. You can actually go in here, and there's two different options here. You can just drag and drop to organize the tiles. You can also do move up and down. You can also unfavorite, and if you unfavorite a course or a tile, then it's not going to show up on your dashboard. I'll show you how to access that here in just a second in case you do that. Additionally, there are some settings for the dashboard as a whole. The card view is the view that I recommend, and I really wouldn't move away from this card view. There's a list view, and then also a recent activity. I don't find these as useful. I would always use the card view. But there is this color overlay, and what that does is it takes away that color overlay that you see over the top of those tiles. But you do want to pay attention to what color this particular class is, because as I go into calendar, you'll see that particular color is important when you look at the calendar. So if you don't see, or your student doesn't see a course that they're looking for, they can most likely find it here in their all courses. And this is where if you go in and you click and you star a certain course, it's going to then show up on your student's dashboard. So it's important. You can notice here, I'll go ahead and I'll remove this one again. I'll just unfavorite it. And now it's removed from the dashboard. But in your all courses is where you'll find courses where students might find courses that they may have accidentally unfavorited. So that's important. So the next thing I want to talk about is the calendar. There's not a lot on this calendar here, but you'll notice here on the right-hand side, there are little check boxes that allow you to select and unselect certain calendars, certain course calendars in here. So if your son or daughter or your child is working on a specific class and they want to just look at the calendar for that specific course, then they can uncheck everything and just check that specific course. And it functions pretty much like a regular calendar. There is a feed that if you want to put this into a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar, you can use this feed here. And I'm not going to go through that, but you can most likely Google that on how to do that. But it does offer you a calendar feed for other calendars. The next thing that I wanted to cover are the messages. And if when students or you go into your conversations, it asks you to select a course first, and then it asks you who do you want to send a message to, and then you're going to give it a subject and send it just like an email. So that's how you use messages within Canvas. Now, when you send a message through Canvas, it will alert you in your email address. If somebody sends you a message through Canvas, it will show up in your actual email. It won't just reside in Canvas itself. But remember, if I go into notifications and I go down here to conversations, and I say no messages right here, then you will not receive those messages. So make sure that you set those notifications up correctly. The next thing I want to talk about is this is another way for your student to access, to send a message to your instructor. It acts just like the conversation. You choose the course in which you want to send, and you then send that message. and this will only go to the instructors. It doesn't give you the option of who you want to send it to. The next thing I wanted to cover is this search in the Canvas community. Canvas and Instructor, which is the company that produces Canvas, or that's the owner of Canvas, they have one of the most fantastic guides, set of guides out there. So there's an entire guide set up for observers, right? There's also a community for students. So they really do a great job of creating guides. So there's also some if you go through here and you take a look at basic guides, there's a ton of information on this Instructor or Canvas site on how-to guides, and you can access that directly through Canvas. Okay, let me go over here. I just want to follow up here and make sure that everybody understands how they access all this information again. For students to access their online tools, I can't recommend enough starting right here at Hello ID. Click on Hello ID. Your student logs in using their username and password, which I covered earlier, which is their first last name at studentssd.org. And then they can access all their online tools from Hello ID. By default, they'll be put into this all apps here. And Canvas is in here, Zoom is in here. Any textbook that your student might be enrolled in will be in here. So there's a lot of information in Hello ID, and it manages their passwords for them.